happening. And now class is happening. So take your hand, sit in swastikasana, and you'll need a strap and a brick and probably some other things. Yeah. But take your hands and turn the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. Take your hands and move your calf flesh up toward the ceiling, and then turn your thigh flesh from the inside out. And just adjusting the bones and adjusting the skin. And you should feel that your sitting bones draw in and an automatic lift comes into the chest. And lengthen up through your side ribs and roll your shoulder bones back. Bring your shoulder blades in, away from the neck, in toward each other, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little bit. So again, you feel that lift coming into the chest. Then keeping your chest well lifted and broad, close your eyes and fold your palms together to your heart. Press your thumbs into your sternum and lift your sternum up into your thumbs, and let your trapezius release away from the neck again. And turn your awareness to your breath. And as you inhale, make yourself taller from the tailbone all the way up through the head. Keep that height, and as you exhale, move the prana, the energy of the breath, outward towards your side ribs and armpits. Inhale, make yourself tall. Keep that height. Exhale, make yourself broad. Inhale, extend yourself. Exhale, expand yourself. Use the breath to create additional inner spaciousness, so that the inner spaciousness matches or fills up the external shape or form of the pose. Not only that, but it acts as a magnet, let's say, for the mind, so that the mind actually wants to go into that internal space. If it's not happening sort of on its own, Patanjali also suggests that you can watch the exhalation and follow the exhalation with your mind. Like it's a pathway or a thread you can follow from the outer world more deeply in. And from that inner space, let's chant 3 Ms together. Follow that sound with your mind. Follow the reverberation of the sound with your mind. And from that space, inhale once more. Keep your chest well lifted and broad, and bring your chin down to your chest and your hands down to your thighs with your palms up. And then raise your head and open your eyes. Reach your hands out in front of you and interlace your fingers. Turn your palms toward me. Extend from the elbows through the wrist bone and let your trapezius release away from the neck. And press the tops of the feet down into the floor and energetically lift the ankles up and continue that lift upward so that your hands come right above your head if possible. Okay. Then squeeze your elbows in and lift up through the wrists a little bit more. You can let the shoulders reach up, but let your trapezius release away from the neck. Now, once your arms are straight and level with your ears, draw your abdomen in a little bit and see if you can move your arms actually back behind your ears. And then lift up one more time with the arms and feel yourself get longer and longer and longer through the side ribs. And then release your hands and come down. Switch the grip of your fingers and turn your palms toward me. Extend from the elbows through the wrist bones and reach your arms all the way up. Press down into the feet and energetically lift the ankles up. Continue that lift up through the side ribs. Really squeeze those arms as straight and strong as you can. Then see if you can move your arms behind your ears and take your shoulder blades a little bit more into the body so that your chest gets nice and open. Looks pretty good, everyone. Oh, these arms are getting quite straight. All right, and then release and come all the way down. Now, I said that you needed 1 brick, but actually you're going to need 2 bricks. So go ahead and get 2 bricks. You're still in your first swastikasana crossing position. And put your bricks out in front of you on their tall height. And press your feet down. Move your outer ankles away from the floor and lengthen up from the pubis all the way through the collarbone. So you're really making yourself long. Here you go. Kristen, you go ahead and stay here. Okay. But everyone else, then you're going to bring one brick in, okay, and then fold your forearms on your forehead. Okay. Or Kristen, you could get a chair or something so you could rest your forehead as well. And just take a couple of deep breaths here. See how the forward bend releases the groin and quiets the mind. Then come back up to the concave back stage. There you go. And then come back up to the just upright stage, let's say, and as you do, you should feel some more length that came into the front of the body. Okay. Then switch the cross of your legs. Oh, actually, stretch your legs. Before you switch the cross of your legs, stretch your legs out to Dandasana, staff pose. That was Dante, who just came in to investigate things. All right, and then get a strap. Join your big toes together and spread your other toes wide apart. Engage your quadriceps and your inner thighs. Do as much work on your own as you can to get the leg muscles really working well. Then take the strap and put the strap just above the heel of your feet. Okay? And hold on to the strap with your hands and now pull on that strap with your hands. Roll the shoulder bones back, turn your biceps up toward the front, toward the ceiling. And see if you can feel that by using the arms to pull on the legs, that your legs actually get a little bit more engaged and there's a nice connection of energy between the work of the arms and the work of the legs that lets your spine extend a little bit more upward. Good work, everyone. Cliff, move your hands a little bit wider apart so your collarbones get a little bit broader. There you go. Good. Nice work of the feet, everyone. Spread your toes. All right, and then switch the cross of your legs so your other leg goes in front. Take your hands and turn the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. Take your hands and move the calf flesh up toward the ceiling. And then use your hands to externally rotate the thighs. Feel that inward movement of the sitting bones and that lift coming into the chest. Then hook one thumb over the other thumb and extend through your fingers forward. Pull your thumbs against each other and then reach your arms all the way up above your head. Observe how this particular arm position gets more of the top of the shoulder blades. Pull your thumbs against each other and extend through the ring fingers. Make yourself tall. Feel the abdomen draw in toward the spine. Keep the length in the side ribs as you bring your hands down and switch the grip of the thumbs. Hold the thumbs against each other. Get the elbows as straight as you can. And then reach your arms all the way up above your head. Pull your thumbs against each other and extend upward. Nice work, everyone. Pull a little bit more. Be sure your trapezius is releasing away from the neck. And then come down. Yeah. So here we are in the upright stage of Swastikasana. Take your 2 bricks and lean forward so you go into the concave back stage. Roll those shoulders back. Bring your shoulder blades in, particularly the lower shoulder blades in, and really lengthen from the pubis to the navel as you're here. You're getting length first, and keep the length. Move one of your bricks in closer, and then you can if you can go all the way down to the floor in the forward bend, you can go ahead and do that, or you can just let your forearms go on some level of the brick or the chair. Just let that little forward bend release the groin and quiet the mind. Just take a few calm, deep, soothing breaths here. And then keeping that nice inward focus, come back to the concave back stage. Lengthen from the pubis through the collarbone. And then walk yourself back to the upright stage. Then stretch your legs out into Dandasana again. Go ahead and take your strap. Join your big toes and spread your other toes wide apart. Put the strap right above the heel so that the top of the feet can do their nice work. And then pull on that strap. And when you pull on the strap, it should help you get from the little toe side of the foot into the outer hip so you feel some firmness there. And then roll the shoulders back and really lift your chest well. And then you can even turn with your hands so that the biceps go up toward the ceiling. And from the lower shoulder blades, bring Bring your lower shoulder blades in a little bit more so you feel some nice broadness coming into the collarbones. Feel the firmness of the legs and the connection of the work of the arms and the legs, like you're making a kind of closed circuit, right? Closed chain, I think is what it's actually called. All right. Then take your right hand on the inside of the right knee and bring your leg up into Baddha Konasana. You might need a little bit more height or you might need a little bit less height. Difficult to say. There you go. Then take your strap again and hook it around just your Dandasana foot and just do a concave back stage of Janu Shirshasana here. Let the Baddha Konasana leg release a little bit and then just stay upright. Good. Then stretch that leg out and then do the same thing on the other side. Bring your other leg up into Janu Shirshasana, Baddha Konasana. I'm actually in the tree pose version right now of Janu Shirshasana. So I'm on the little toe side of my foot and on the center of the thigh, like the leg position for Mahamudra, which I was realizing yesterday. I haven't really been working on much lately, so we'll work that back in someday. All right, but push your foot and your thigh into each other, pull on the strap on your foot, roll those shoulders back and really get a nice lift coming into the chest. Good. Nice job, everyone. All right, and then stretch that leg back out. Now you're going to bring both legs up into Baddha Konasana. And be on the position of the feet in Baddha Konasana where your balls of the feet and your heels are together. Push the balls of the feet and the heels into each other and feel that firmness come into the outer hips. You can take your bricks behind you and use that to lift up through the sides of the torso a little bit. You can sit up on a little bit more height if your knees are way higher than your pelvic bones. All right. And we're going to do that same coming forward. It's a little harder in Baddha Konasana than for me than Swastikasana. But just lean forward into the concave back stage of the Baddha Konasana forward bend. And I can actually feel that there's a tendency here, because my groins are tighter in this position, there's a tendency for my front body to want to sink already. So I'm going to press my feet together, feel the firmness in the outer hips, really lift from that pubis through the collarbone so that the front body is nice and long. Okay. And you can stay here, or you can try bringing a block in, holding your forehead, and being here in Baddha Konasana. It may be a little bit harder to find a little quietude if this is a difficult pose for you. But just work with your breath. Keep pressing the heels and the balls of the feet together and see if you can just get a little bit of a release in the groin from the forward bending. Then come back to the concave back stage, lengthening from the pubis through the collarbone. And maybe you feel a little bit of release coming into the groin, I do at least. And then from there, come all the way back up into the upright stage of Baddha Konasana. Place your hands on your outer knees, pull your knees together, stretch your legs out into Dandasana. And then bring your legs out wide for Upavishta Konasana. You can change the height that you're sitting on as you need to. Spread across the toes, draw up from the inner thighs and the outer thighs. From the little toe side of the foot, draw up into the outer hips. Lengthen up through the side ribs and just reach your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana here. So even in this upright phase, you're really getting length in the sides of the torso by reaching the arms up. Really keep drawing up from the little toe side of the foot into the outer hips. Feel that firmness in the outer hips. And then from there, you reach up through the whole side ribs and reach up and make yourself long. Then bring your hands down and get hold of your bricks. Put your bricks in front of you on their tall place, or tall, what is it called? Tall side. All right. And I can feel there's a little, even though this pose is not too difficult for me in terms of forward bending, I can feel that I have this tendency to sink down. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I'm really pulling up from the little toe side of the foot into the outer hips. Lengthen through the pubis, through the collarbones, so you really get lots of length in the front body. I really draw up from that little toe side of the foot into the outer hips. Keep the length in the front body as much as you can. And then fold forward or stay upright if that's more appropriate for you. And bring your forehead down to a brick on whatever height that you can manage. You can go all the way to the floor. You're welcome to go all the way to the floor. All right, then go ahead and come back to the concave backstage. Lengthen from the pubis through the crown of the head. Then come back to the upright phase. And then swing your legs together into Dandasana one more time. Go ahead and take hold of your strap. Pull on your feet with your strap. Turn your biceps up toward the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades come in and your chest get nice and lifted and broad. Good. Right. Then go ahead and stand up. Into Tadasana. I need your strap in a second, but I'm not going to use it just yet. So just stand in Tadasana. We did some seated forward bending release groin work. So see if you can feel the effect of our beginning seated work on your groins and on your outer hips and also on your chest. So we have in Tadasana that same work of lengthening through the front body that we did in those seated forward bends. And reach your arms out in front of you. Interlace your fingers and turn your palms toward me. And then reach your arms all the way up above your head. Adangulya. Keep lifting your quadriceps. Let your trapezius muscles release away from your neck. Squeeze your elbows. Really reach up through the wrist bones. And then draw your upper abdomen in. And as you move your arms back behind your ears, move your shoulder blades more into your body so that your chest gets nice and open. And bring the hands down. Switch the grip of your fingers and turn your palms toward me. Extend from the elbows through the wrist bones and reach your arms all the way up. Press down into the balls of the feet, into the heels. Lift up through the quadriceps and the inner thighs. Continue that lift all the way up through the wrist bones. And now see if you can get a little bit more opening in your chest. Draw your upper abdomen in so you don't push your rib cage forward. Move your arms back behind your ears and simultaneously move your shoulder blades from the lower shoulder blade up through the collarbones into the body a little bit more. And then release your hands down and come back into Tadasana. Turn your right leg out and lift your right leg up. And come into Vrikshasana, tree pose. Push your foot and your thigh into each other. Yeah, you can hold on to the chair or the wall as you need to. Oh, Vicky, I totally forgot about your boot. I was not noticing it when you were sitting down. There you are. Good job. Bring your hands to your heart. Press your thumb into your sternum and lift your chest up into your thumb. And then reach your arms up into Urdhva Namaskar for full tree pose. Press down into the heel, lift up, press your palms together as you lift your arms all the way up. And release your arms down, bring your foot down, and let's do the same thing on the other side. Turn your leg out, lift your leg up, place your heel as high on your thigh as you can. Push your foot and your thigh into each other so you feel that lift coming into the chest. Join your palms together. Press your thumbs into your sternum and lift your sternum up into your thumbs. Good job. And then press your heels of your hands against each other. Kathy, you're leaning a little bit toward the doorway. So if you move your standing hip in a little bit more. That's it. Good. And then reach your arms all the way up. Great. And then release your arms down. Bring your foot down and stand in Tadasana again. So that was like the Baddha Konasana work. And get your strap. Remember how we put the strap around the feet in Dandasana? You can do that same thing in Tadasana, where you put the strap underneath. I have it, again, just right above the heels. And I hold on to either side of the strap, keep my arms straight. And then pull on the strap with your hands to help you bring your shoulder blades in more, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And really just feel the nice openness that comes into the chest when you do that. That looks good, everyone. Nice Pratima. That looks good. All right, and then release the strap. Go ahead and step your legs out wide. Spread your toes. Lift your quadriceps. Lift your inner thighs. Lengthen up through your side ribs. Roll the shoulders back. Pretend that you had straps on each foot and you were reaching down with your hands and pulling up on those straps so those little toe side of the foot really gets engaged. All right, then you're going to fold forward and come into just the concave back stage of Prasarada Padottanasana. You can have your hands on bricks if you want to, but lift up from the little toe side of the foot into the outer hips, lengthen from the pubis to the navel, really make yourself as long as you can from the pubis through the navel, bring your shoulder blades into your back. Then after that, fold forward, bring your head down to the floor and grab hold of your ankles and lift up with your shoulders. If your head doesn't touch the floor, then you can put a brick or some blankets down. So you just get that quietude and the expansiveness across the pelvic region that comes from head down Prasarada Padottanasana. Good. Melinda, bend your elbows a little bit and see if you can get your shoulders to lift up away from your ear. There you go. Good. Nice, Kristen. Good, Kathy. All right, then everyone come back to the concave backstage. Get that length for the pubis for the crown of through the collarbone. And walk your legs in a little bit if you need to, and then come all the way back up into the upright phase of Prasarada Padottanasana. And then walk your feet back together and be in Tadasana again. All right, then get either a second sticky mat or a blanket or a blanket roll or just a folded blanket if you feel like. We're gonna do a tiny bit of mashing the calves in Virasana. But so if you don't want the whole roll, like if you feel like that'd be too much calf mashing, you can just use something behind your knees or just sit on a brick. Okay, so it's up to you. And I have my second sticky mat, and we're going to put the sticky mat 3 places. How's Virasana going to go, Vicky? All right, look interested to see. So we're gonna put the blanket roll or the sticky mat roll behind the knees first, then in the middle of the calf, and then down on the ankles. Okay, and you're also going to have a brick handy. So I'm going to put the blanket roll back behind my knees, kneel down. Okay. It's in as close to the back of the knees as I can, but my feet are out wide. They're like Virasana. They're not in Vajrasana. And I'm sitting here, and right now my buttocks are just hanging in the air. Okay. And then I'm going to take a brick and go ahead and sit on the brick, because when I have my buttocks supported on the brick, I can actually get a little bit more ability to let the calf muscles release down. Okay. It seems like, Vicky, I have seen, do you have 2 bolsters? So I think I remember learning this from Lori, that you can do this. I don't know if it'll work with your boot or not, but if you put the bolsters like this, where's my other bolster? You can sit up in Virasana on these bolsters and let your boot hang off the back and see if you could get more into Virasana that way. Okay. And then you could maybe even calf mash. Ah, look at that. Yeah, okay, great. Anyone can try that who has really stiff ankles. It's also very therapeutic for the knees, okay? So you could try double bolster Virasana. But here we are having some extra calf mashing. All right, take your belt and make a elbow-sized loop with it. Put it on your elbows. That's what I meant by elbow-sized loop. The loop is actually, the size of the loop should actually be about the distance of your collarbones. And then reach your arms above your head with your elbows in. So it should help your elbows come in a little bit more. There you go. Make it a little bit tighter, Gay and Cliff. That's good, Chaya. Okay, good. And then release your arms down. That looks great, Vicki. All right, then good, Kristen. And then come forward and move your blanket roll or your sticky mat roll to the big, thicker part of your calf. So the thick part of your calf gets smashed. There you go. Extend back through the tops of the feet. Bring your arms out wide like you're doing eagle pose, because you're about to. So when your elbows are out wide like this, the collarbone's nice and broad and your shoulder blades are on your back or in toward the spine a little bit. Then hook one elbow over the other and you'll feel your shoulder blades move away from the spine. And we do that in a lot of poses. Then move your arms out again and you'll feel your shoulder blades come in again and the collarbone get broad, and then hook the opposite way. And you'll feel your shoulder blades move away from the spine. And then move out and you'll feel your shoulder blades move in. Then come forward, move the sticky mat roll to the back of the ankle, close to the heel. Sit up straight and tall. You should still have your strap, but now you may need it for Gomukhasana. All right, so stretch your right arm out in front, turn the arm down, swing your arm out wide so you really keep this broadness across the collarbones. Bend the elbow and put your hand on your back. Lengthen up through the side ribs. Now my shoulders come forward a little bit, okay, and I want it to go back. So I'm gonna press my hand into my back and roll the shoulder back, but simultaneously bring the elbow forward. And you'll feel that shoulder blade hook more onto your back. Then reach your other arm up. That's it. Turn your tricep from the outside in. Move your arm as far back behind your ear as you can. And then bend the elbow and either clasp your fingers or get hold of the strap. Turn your triceps from the outside in of your upper arm. Then release your arms. And then switch the strap to the other side. Stretch your arm out, reach your arm out, turn the palm down, reach the arm way out wide. And so you get this broadness across the collarbone as much as you can. Then bend the elbow and put your hand on your back. Okay. When I do that, and for most people, the shoulder bone does come forward a little bit. Yeah. So, but I want it to go back once my hand's behind my back. So first lengthen up from the pelvic bone into the armpit. Push your hand into your back as you roll the shoulder back, but bring the elbow forward. And you'll feel your shoulder blade come more onto your back and your chest open. Good. Then reach your arm up, turn your tricep from the outside in, move your arm way, way, way back behind you, and then bend the elbow and get hold of the strap or hook your fingers. Move the back of both hands into the body to open the chest even more. Looks good, everyone. Pratima, look forward. You're turning your head away from your arm a little bit. Good. And then release your arms. Come back to the center and reach your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana and just feel the freedom that's kind of come in your shoulders from having done that work. Then come forward onto your hands and your knees. Spread your palms. Turn your triceps and the biceps the same way that we did when we were working with the strap. Turn your toes under, and then push yourself back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So a lot of times in class we do downward facing dog much earlier in class. This is our first dog of the day, and we've done a lot of groin work. We've done a lot of shoulder work. So see if you can feel the effect on that downward facing dog. Nice, Kristen. Nice arm work. Then everyone keep your arm action strong. Come up onto the balls of the feet. Lift your quadriceps, lift your inner thighs, and roll over the balls of the feet and reach your heels back toward the floor. Good. Nice. All right. Downward facing dog. There you go. There you go. See that. And walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Place your hands on your pelvic bones. Roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way up. Get the strap or the belt for your elbows again. Put it just on your elbow joint. And you want to make your arms straight. So some of you need to have your strap a little bit tighter. There you go. And reach your arms way, way, way above your head. Join your feet, lift up through your quadriceps and your inner thighs. And then when you're lifting up, you want to lift up through the armpits. So hopefully the belt actually clears the top of the head. It's okay if it doesn't, but that's what we're working toward. And then push, depends on your elbows, but push your elbows into the strap. And then release and come down. Now get a brick. You can, and actually let go of your elbow strap for a second and just get the brick. All right, then hold on to the brick with your hands. Pretend that you still had your elbow strap on. Then bend your elbows. And then reach your arms up above your head like you were doing an upside down Pinchamayurasana. So you want to keep that, that's it. Turn the triceps from the outside in, squeeze the brick with your hands, and then see if you can move the brick a little bit further back behind you, and then move those shoulder blades into the body so your chest gets nice and open. And then release and come down. Now put the brick on your elbows, okay? And squeeze the brick with your elbows if you can. And then can you lift up with the brick between your elbows? Or imaginary brick. Oh my gosh, that's really hard. Keep squeezing the brick. Okay, and then release and come down. Now put your strap back on, if you have your strap. And we're gonna do downward facing dog with the elbows belted. Okay. So you're gonna come down onto your hands and your knees. Spread your palms well, have your elbow belt, and then push back into downward facing dog with your elbows belted. And just see what change that gives you. It should make it a little bit easier to straighten the arms. Should give you a little bit more opening in the thoracic spine. And as a result of those two things, I also felt that the weight comes more back into my legs. Lift your quadriceps a little bit more. And you may find if you belt your elbows and come into a downward facing dog, you'll be able to stay in your downward facing dog a little bit longer. Walk your feet, Marsha, a little bit further back. Good. All right, and then just go ahead and bend your knees and come down. All right, then everyone get a yoga chair if you have one. Actually, it doesn't have to be for right now. It's a specific yoga chair. It just has to have like an edge on it. Okay. It could be, if you don't have, I'm trying to think if you don't have a chair. Who doesn't, does anyone not have a chair? Speak now. Okay. It looks like most people have a chair. Good. Okay, I like to put my sticky mat on the chair. So I have my 4-folded sticky mat. Excellent job. And just put the sticky mat on the edge of the chair. Then you're gonna kneel down, put your elbows on the chair, and do a Pinchamayurasana prep with your elbows on the chair. So you're getting that same opening in the armpits, or a different opening in the armpits. Get that same lengthening in the armpits, and bring your shoulder blades in, but keep your abdomen firm so you don't don't overarch the lower back. Let's see how that looks. Marsha, can you move your knees back a little bit? There you go. And maybe move your elbows a little bit closer to the edge of the chair. That looks good, Bob. Good, Chaya. Good, Vicky. Sugi, that's really good opening in the thoracic spine, but move your buttock flesh back a little bit so you're not, yeah, there you go. Good. Okay, nice, Kathy. Good, Kristen. Nice, Sudha. Good, Pratima. Karen and Ashwini, I'm sure that you are doing an excellent job also. Okay. All right, good. Okay, release. Okay. Then just put your hands on the chair and push back into a chair supported downward facing dog. Feeling that nice opening in the armpits. And then bend your knees again. Put your elbows on the chair, but this time press your palms against each other. Like you're doing prayer pose. Pay attention to your shoulder blades, and then try and move your hands apart from each other like they're the distance of a brick, and you should really feel those shoulder blades come into the back a little bit more. It may feel like your hands are moving in concrete rather than air. And then bring your palms back together. Push your palms against each other and extend up through your ring fingers. And then we'll do that one more time. Try and move your hands away from each other. Good, like they're holding an imaginary brick. Or a real brick, as the case may be. That's good, Gay. Nice job. All right, and then release. And put your hands on the floor again. Sorry, on the chair again. And push back into chair, downward facing dog. And walk forward. Okay, you can either repeat that work on the chair, or you can try a little bit of dolphin preparation work, or Paschimottanasana prep. Okay? So now I've got my brick on the floor, my forearms are on the floor, my palms are down rather than holding the brick. And then I'm gonna come up and try not to move my shoulders much when I come up, but then you can move your head back a little bit and get more opening in the thoracic spine, okay? So that's the plan. If that seems too much for you, you repeat with your elbows on the chair, okay? So have your forearms on the floor, your palms will be flat like you're doing. And when you come up, you just wanna make sure that your shoulders stay stable at first. So go ahead and come up, but don't let your shoulders move back immediately or forward, okay? There you go. Then once you press the forearms down, get that, walk in a little bit, forgot to say that. Feel the opening in the armpits. There you go. Then you can move your head more towards your thighs once you're up. There you go. Okay, good job. And then bend your knees and come down. It's pretty hard work, huh? All right, we're gonna try that one more time, okay? So come down, put your forearms on the floor. Try and have your hands like brick distance apart, or you can even hold on to a brick with your hands, or you repeat with the chair, okay? All right, now notice, have your shoulders directly over your elbows, okay, at first. Okay. When you come up, try not to let the shoulders move back or forward. Just come up onto the balls of the feet. There you go, keeping your shoulders stable. There you go, good. Okay, now walk in a little bit, still keeping your shoulders stable. Come up onto your toes, press the forearms down, get that same opening feeling in the armpits that we were working on most of class. Then you can move your shoulder blades in and bring your head back toward your legs. Good. And really get that opening in the armpits. Good. Paschimottanasana prep. Good. All right, release and come down. Now we're going to do a headstand. So go ahead and set up for wherever you're going to do headstand. It can be on a chair. If you don't do headstand, you can do Prasarada Padottanasana with the head supported, or you can also do a head supported Uttanasana, or you can do a headless headstand prep, whatever you're doing. Or I don't know if you're still getting upside down, Kristen, but you could also do like a Supta Baddha Konasana if you, with the bolster and blanket for your head. That might be a nice support for you. Okay. All right, so go ahead and set up, come into Shirshasana. Good, Bob. Now, we just did that forearm pressing down work in Panchamayurasana prep on the floor. So that should translate very nicely into your Shirshasana. So your forearms are pressing down and you're extending from the elbows to the little finger side of your hand. Good. All right, there's partner again. All right, lift up through the armpits and bring your shoulder blades in. Turn your thighs in and extend up through the inner heels. Now imagine you actually had a strap attached to your feet, like we're pulling down on. From the little toe side of the foot, you actually have to pull down as you're extending up from your inner knee through the inner heels. That looks good, Pratima. Kathy, you're leaning away from that doorway, so you have to squeeze your legs together and move them more they're right in line with your head. Good. Okay, a little bit it looks like you're turning toward the bed with your torso, so particularly when you're at the wall, really make sure you can really feel the whole body against the wall. Chaya, you come down and rest again if you need to, because that one's pretty hard. Good. Keep your shoulders well lifted, everyone. All right. Now on the way down, keep your shoulders well lifted and see if you can stop just momentarily with your legs parallel to the floor. And then go ahead and come down. And rest in downward facing child's pose. You may want to support your head on the brick. All right, and then go ahead and after you feel that nice release in the groin and the brain, go ahead and come all the way up. Oh. All right, Kirsten is actually already in Supta Baddha Konasana, I believe, but let's all do a Supta Baddha Konasana to really open the chest and bring the shoulder blades into the back before we do a little bit more work towards shoulder stand. Okay. So you're gonna get your bolster. It'll be a spine-wise bolster. Have a blanket for your head. For me, I like to do a trifold blanket. You might, if you have a thicker blanket, you might not need that same amount. And I like to, my favorite way to support the legs in Supta Baddha Konasana is to take an open blanket and make a roll with it. And when I come into Supta Baddha Konasana, I have my feet toward each other, and then I can put the roll in front of the ankles, and it also supports in my outer hip. And then I can come into Supta Baddha Konasana. I like doing that more than the strap because my sacrum stays free. And also as you stay in Baddha Konasana and your groin begins to open, it's pretty easy just to move the blanket away a little bit. So it still supports the legs, but it lets them open. Yeah. And using the strap, I find it's a little harder to adjust. But if you like to use the strap, totally fine. Okay. There's nothing wrong with the strap. It's a tried and true approach. Okay. Suzette, it looks like you need a little bit more under your head. So maybe fold that blanket again. That looks good, Pratima. Chaya, it's fine if you're doing Supta Virasana, but we were going to do Supta Baddha Konasana first. Okay, so you can stay there and then we'll switch if you want, or you can go into Supta Baddha Konasana and then Supta Virasana. Okay. So really feel the opening in the groin. Press your heels against each other so you still have nice firmness in the outer hips. There you go. And then if you do feel that your groin is opening, then you can get rid of, or you can move the blanket out of the way and let your knees release a little bit more toward the floor. Let your shoulder blades come in using the suggestion of the bolster and feel that width and broadness that comes across the collarbones. So Supta Baddha Konasana is really a wonderful pose that works a lot with getting width in the groin. All right, then take hold of your blanket if you're using it. You're gonna have to unbelt your legs, Karen, and then bring your legs into Swastikasana. And then you can still use your blanket roll once you do that and put it between the feet and the knees. So here you are in Swastikasana. And this gives you a little bit more depth in the groin. Right? Baddha Konasana gives you width. Knees are out wide, so that corresponds with this width across the whole pelvic region. Here you are in Swastikasana. And you should feel the groin recede downward more toward the floor here. Good. Then switch the cross of your legs. Do Swastikasana the other way. Good. And then go ahead and push yourself up. And now you're going to set up for Supta Virasana. Okay. So that gets lengthened. I'm trying to think, Vicki, maybe if you use those two bolsters again and just had a chair behind you, at least you could lean back with like your elbows on the chair or something. See about that, because you don't want to, I guess the other option would be to do like Ekapada Supta Virasana, but then one groin would just not get open and that would not be good. So I'm going to try the two bolsters for your ankles and then lean back. You can be on two staggered bolsters. Okay. You can just be in Virasana and just move your hands back behind you a little bit. My own favorite version of Supta Virasana is actually to sit on the bolster, have my a little bit underneath my knees, and then lay back on the bolster. And that really opens the front groin. Okay, so Supta Baddha Konasana we worked with to give width. Supta Swastikasana gives depth. And then the Supta Virasana, hopefully you're feeling really is giving length in the front of the groin. And all of those are important aspects of getting the groin open and working to open the hips. If Supta Virasana is not a pose for you, we're going to stay a little while longer so Vicki can get into her awesome Supta Virasana setup. You can go back to either Supta Swastikasana or Supta Baddha Konasana. And so we're going to stay here another minute or so. And so if it's just intolerable for you, straighten out your legs and do one of the other two poses that we did beforehand. There you go, Vicki. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, maybe we get a second chair or something to support your head, maybe. I don't know. Not now, but at least you're getting your front groins open. Okay. Sometimes also a little trick I have learned about Supta Virasana is sometimes when I first go into it, it's just not really coming. So I'll come out of it, do a downward facing dog, and then try to go back in. Okay? And sometimes that second approach inward works a little bit better for me. But y'all are all, most of you are doing pretty well. Bob, try and bring your knees a little bit closer together. Good. Really open those front groins. So we're going to do a shoulder stand in just a little while. And this opening of the groin is hopefully going to make your shoulder stand really feel nice and light, okay, because we've really opened the groins, okay? All right, so go ahead and place your hands on your hips. Sorry, place your hands by your hips and then push yourself up and then just come all the way forward and go into downward facing dog. Open the backs of the knees by straightening your, lifting your quadriceps and lifting your inner thighs. Good. All right. Walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Place your hands on your pelvic bones. Roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way up. So most of you had your bolster here for Supta Virasana. Then you're going to get 2 bricks and a blanket roll. Now you roll the blanket, the short from the narrow edge. So it's a nice roll. And it'll be for your neck. And then I'm going to get another blanket just because I'm on sticky mat for my head eventually. And then also get 2 bricks for your feet. Okay, so we're going to do a bolster Setubandha before signing up for a shoulder stand. Okay, all right, so it looks like that. And the trick for bolster Setubandha is that you've got to start off with your knees bent, sit on the bolster, lie down on the bolster, and then you coil off the bolster and you want your shoulders to go to the floor and the blanket roll is underneath your neck and the bolster is really lifting the chest nicely. Once you get all of that, then you're going to stretch your legs out onto the bricks. So bolster Setubandha with neck support. Kristen, if that's too much for you, you could go back and do like, you could do Supta Baddha Konasana again or one of the supine poses. Yeah. And if it works for you, or cross bolster might work really nicely too. Okay, you don't want the blanket roll where, Kathy, the blanket roll is too big for you. You want your shoulders to go to the floor. Okay. Your head's on the floor and the blanket roll just fills up the space of your neck. So you've got to get shoulders down a little bit more, Bob. Shoulders really need to be on the floor. Okay. And the blanket roll, it maybe isn't a whole roll. Okay. Blanket roll needs to be on your neck, Kathy. It's yeah, you got to move it back a little bit so your shoulders go to the floor. Yeah, and the blanket is that, yeah, still a little big, but that's okay. Your camera's just positioned where I can see it. That's good lifting the chest. That's good. Yeah, it's probably still a little bit more than you need. That looks good, Karen. Good, Pratima. But it looks like your head is getting thrown back. So you want the back of the head to be on the floor. Okay. Shoulders on the floor and the blanket rolls under. Hey, everyone, go ahead and come out of the pose for a second. Watch again. Okay, I've got a really thin Puna blanket. So for me, it's almost all the way rolled. Okay? But the blanket roll can unroll. Okay? So you just want the amount of roll to fill up the space of your neck. But let's do the pose without the blanket roll first. Okay, so you can kind of get a feeling of what the blanket roll does for you. So this is Setubandha, okay, which means when you come off the bolster, I'm coiling off. Okay? And so my back of my head and my shoulders are on the floor. And my chin and my chest are toward each other in Jalandhara Bandha. And when you're here, just take a stock of, you can feel with your hand that there's space between your neck and the floor, all right? So just do that much. Okay. So slide off. So just your head and your shoulders are on the floor. Okay. You can straighten out your legs if you need to. Okay. Then you should be able to feel with one hand that there's some space between your neck and the floor. This pose is completely fine as it is without the blanket roll. But if you can make a roll that's exactly the space between your neck and the floor and put it in there, you're going to feel that it's much softer and that your brain draws inward a little bit more readily. I learned this from Devin, and for me, it's made a huge difference in my enjoyment of Setubandha. If you find that it doesn't do, that looks good, Melinda. And Suzette looks good. If you find that it doesn't do anything for you, that's fine. You don't have to use it. But that's better. So this is one of the many clans of poses that prepare you to do shoulder stand. Because basically your chin and your chest are going toward Jalandhara Bandha. And that's basically what makes something be in the clan of shoulder stand. Now this is a much easier pose to do than shoulder stand. But see if you can, with your mind and with your memory, can you take a picture of the ease that you feel in this Jalandhara Bandha? So when we set up for shoulder stand, you're going to try and capture some of the ease of this pose. Okay. All right. So now bend your knees, roll to your, well, you can push toward your head side if you have room. Otherwise, you can just roll to your side. And go ahead and set up for your version of shoulder stand. If you don't do shoulder stand, then go ahead and do legs up the wall pose. Okay? Or if that won't work for you, you can stay in Setubandha. Okay. So, Gadio, question? Okay. All right, so set up for shoulder stand. You can do chair shoulder stand. That might be a good one for you, Kristen. You can do shoulder stand with your blankets. You just want to set up for a shoulder stand. Shoulder stand setup is you can stack 3 or 4 blankets right on top of each other, put a brick or a bolster behind them. Chair shoulder stand, you put a sticky mat and a folded blanket on the chair. Hook your ankles over the chair. I can show that. And back out of the pose. Nice, Suzette. If you don't know the setup of chair shoulder stand and you want to do it, you can take a look up at my setup. There's a chair, there's a tri-folded blanket, there's a bolster. And then you don't want the back of the head to be on sticky mat, so there's another blanket. And then the trick of chair shoulder stand is you have to hook your knees until your shoulders are on the blanket, then you can straighten them out. Actually, this feels really quite wonderful. But regardless of the shoulder stand that you've chosen, once you get in your setup and you're in the pose, see if you can remember back to that bricks, to the bolster Setubandha, and how there was that quietude. And can you, even though that's shoulder stand, particularly if you're doing it unsupported with the chair, is harder work, okay, you should still have that same inner quietude. Pratima, you got to bring your, it looks like you need to get a little bit more to the back part of the bolster. Okay. And then, or you can do legs up the wall pose, or Sugi, if you want to do those handstands that you've been doing, either thing, any one of those is fine. Nice, Marsha. Good, Vicky. Good, Chaya. Bob, that's coming along. All right, now, regardless of whether you're on the chair or on your independent shoulder stand, see if you can feel the effect of that groin work that we did. Is it a little bit easier to get the legs straighter? Move your, that's good, Marsha. Good, Sugi, that's a really nice pose. That's it, Chaya. I mean, not, well, Chaya, yours looks really good. Yeah. I would next time, Chaya, see about putting maybe a little bit more height on the chair. But your front groins are really looking nice and open. And you got to get the head. There you go, Pratima. That's a little better. And then just if you're not doing shoulder stand, you can go ahead and come into legs up the wall pose or repeat Setu Bandha. That looks good, Vicki. Good. Okay, for those of you who are in independent shoulder stand, okay, go ahead and come out of roll into Halasana and come out of the pose. Those of you in chair shoulder stand, just slide off of the chair. And then either slide off of your blankets, but do something where your head and your chest are head and the back of the neck are on the same level. Good. And then everyone move toward legs up the wall pose. That looks good, Sugi. Bob, just move your arms a little bit wider apart so you're not closing off your top chest. There you go. Good. That looks good, Vicki. Good, Pratima. Legs up the wall pose is a really nice place to work on extending from the inner knees through the inner heels. Now remember those supine poses that we did. Okay. So can you bring your legs now into Baddha Konasana? So move your knees out wide. Bring the heels and the balls of the feet together. Extend and open the groin. Keep your left leg where it is and move your right leg out into Upavishta Konasana. And see if as a result you can move your left leg in a little bit closer, the heel a little bit closer to the perineum. There you go. Good. And then switch legs. So the right leg goes into Baddha Konasana and the left leg goes out wide into Upavishta Konasana. Nice. All right, then bring both legs back into Baddha Konasana and see if your Baddha Konasana got better. Nice, Bob. You may be able to pull your heels in a little bit closer to your perineum. All right. And stretch your legs back up straight into just regular. There you go. Now cross your legs like Swastikasana. Or if Padmasana is easy for you, you can swing your legs into Padmasana. Good, Sugi. And straighten your legs back up, straight up toward the ceiling. Engage your quadriceps well, particularly if you're in Padmasana. And then switch the cross of your legs. And then straighten your legs back out again. You can't really do Supta Virasana, obviously, with your legs against the wall. But just feel the effect of all that groin work that we did. Feel the effect of the openness of the chest from the shoulder work that we did. And then keeping this nice, quiet state of mind, go ahead and switch to whatever version of Shavasana you want to do. Shavasana. You can have a bolster underneath your knees. You can have a bolster under your chest. You can be flat on the floor. It's whatever you feel called to do. Then once you've settled yourself in, take your hands and move the skin of your skull and your hair away from your neck. Use your hands and tuck your trapezius skin away from your neck. Use your hands and make sure all the skin of the back body is moving toward the heels. And let your arms be out at your side with your palms up. And let your eyes release into the back of your head. Let your tongue release away from the roof of your mouth. Unclench your jaw. Let the back of the throat release. Let the sides of the throat release. Let the base of the throat release. Let your ears draw inward. Completely relax the features of your face. Become quiet within. Patanjali says that yoga is the practice of stilling the fluctuations of the mind. He goes on to say that when the fluctuations of the mind have stilled, we come to dwell in our own true splendor. Be in that space. Abide there. Now take a couple deeper breaths. Use those inhalations to infuse this feeling of Shavasana, this awareness of your true self through every layer of your being. And if you're in legs up the wall pose, bend your knees. Push yourself away from the wall and roll over to your right side. If you're in Shavasana, bend your knees and roll over to your right side. Then use your hands and push yourself up. Sit up straight and tall. Lift your chest well. I really feel from the work that we did a lot of inner spaciousness in the top of my chest and a lot of verticality in the spine. You observe whatever effect your practice has on you and fold your palms together to your heart and close your eyes. In gratitude to the benefit you receive from your practice of yoga, in gratitude to the people the opportunity to learn and study and practice yoga with, and in gratitude to the lineage of Hatha Yoga itself, as practiced by BKS Iyengar, reaching back to the sages of India and down through a line of teachers and students to you, here on the mat, in Austin, Texas, or wherever you happen to be in the world, Paris, France, through the miracle of Zoom. Namaste.